The NFL draft is this Thursday, and there are still a lot of questions to be answered before it kicks off. So let's answer some of your Cowboys questions in this video, starting with Santana J83. He asked, would you trade up and try and get Bijan Robinson or stay at 26 and pick offensive lineman Steve Avila? Well, to start, I would never condone the Cowboys trading up for a running back, especially in today's NFL. The value just doesn't match up. With that being said, I would have no problem with the Cowboys taking Bijan if he's sitting there at number 26, which I don't believe he will be. As for Steve Avila, I think there's a good chance you can get him in the second round, and pick 26 might be a reach at that point in the draft. It depends on who the Cowboys have higher on their board, but if they pick a guard in round 1, I think there's a better chance that it's Osiris Torrance from Florida, but who knows, they might have their board stacked differently. But I wouldn't say that Avila is a complete no at number 26. Kenny Stanley asked a great question as well. Who would your starting 5 offensive linemen be? With a few different questions sprinkled in that I'll also try to answer. First, I'm going to tell you how I would do it. My first thought, if you draft someone on Thursday night, especially in the first 3 rounds, is that Tyron Smith is at left tackle, who you draft at left guard, at center Tyler Biadaz, at right guard Zack Martin, and at right tackle Terrance Steele. The Terrance Steele injury does make it a bit tricky, and if he weren't ready to start the season, then I would start Tyron Smith there. But the problem with this lineup is you can't really bank on getting your left guard of the future in round 1 or round 2, just because that's not a smart way of looking at team building in the draft. Therefore, that's probably not what the Cowboys are going to do. I think they're looking for Tyron Smith to be playing at left tackle and Tyler Smith moving back into left guard right now. That keeps Tyron in his original position and puts Tyler where he was drafted to play last year. I thought Tyler Smith held up well at left tackle in 2022. He was far from your biggest problem. So I'd like to keep him there at all costs. He was formidable. He has the length and size to be your future left tackle, and those you just don't find every day. So I'm not really interested in stunning your future left tackle's growth if you don't have to. Also, do we really trust Tyron to stay healthy? Doesn't it just seem inevitable at this point that Tyron's going to get hurt and Tyler Smith's going to have to kick back out to left tackle at some point this season? I mean, it's happened every single year for the past 3 or 4 years. Tyron goes down with an injury, the offensive line has to be shuffled around. So I think keeping Tyron at swing tackle could do a lot of good for the continuity of this offensive line. There's still a lot of time, the entire draft, to figure out that situation, but thank you for asking that question. Tyler Grimm asked, our defense was killer last year. We started falling off a little bit after we lost cornerback 2 and 3. Now that we have retained all of the important pieces and even filled a hole in Gilmore, my only question would be, what would be one more move you'd like to see made on the defensive side of the ball? Could be a trade, draft, free agent, and what you expect from this defense this coming season. I like this question a lot, and one that I have thought about since the name Calijah Kancey popped up in the NFL draft process. The Pittsburgh defensive tackle that is an absolute animal when it comes to rushing the passer from the interior. Dallas already has their ends that can get after the quarterback with Micah, Armstrong, DeMarcus Lawrence, and then second-year player Sam Williams. If this defense could add a serious pass rusher up the middle with Calijah Kancey, I think we'd be looking at one of the league's best units. I like that the Cowboys re-signed Jonathan Hankins. He's a big guy that can plug the middle against the run, but he isn't going to give you much in pass rush. So getting a smaller guy that can disrupt the middle would be a ton of fun for this defense. As for how they'll play next year, it's never a sure thing with defense. Based on what they've done the past 2 years with Dan Quinn at the helm, I don't expect a complete drop-off from that unit. I think Gilmore added a huge piece that the defense needed. We know Micah's going to get after the quarterback. We know that Trayvon Diggs is going to play good, and I really like that they brought back Leighton Vander Esch. So I expect this defense to be a big reason this team succeeds in 2023. Question number 4. Joshua Coleman asked, do you think it's going to be a problem keeping Dak, Micah, CD, and Trayvon? And my short answer is no. My long-winded answer is that there shouldn't be a problem keeping all of those guys if you think they are cornerstone pieces. Out of the 4 names that I listed, if any of them have the potential to walk in free agency because of a lack of a deal, it's Trayvon Diggs. The Cowboys have already picked up CD's 5th-year option, and I wouldn't be surprised to see CD's deal done during training camp this year. Dak's contract is locked in for a bit longer. That is something that they would probably like to extend, and Micah will become the highest paid defensive player in NFL history probably after this year. So the Cowboys can 100% pay everyone they want to. It just depends on who they decide is worth the asking price. D. Burke had a question that fit well with another question that Gabby commented, so I'll answer those two together. D. Burke's question was, what was your honest opinion on Kellen Moore as the offensive coordinator? And Gabby's was, will Mike McCarthy's play calling make a huge difference? Trust me, Kellen Moore got on my nerves. There's no doubt about that. The first down runs made me want to claw my eyeballs out sometimes, but you have to look at what he did with the offense when he was here. They were one of the most potent and high-flying offenses in the entire league. They had top 3 production over his time here, so it would be ridiculous for me to sit here and say that he was absolutely terrible. Were there some things that he could fix? Definitely. But that's with every coordinator that has ever existed in the NFL. There are people who hate Kyle Shanahan's play calling sometimes, and people around Dallas revere him as the almighty play caller. With all that said, will McCarthy's play calling be that huge of a difference? And I will say yes, just not in the way you think it will. I don't think the Cowboys offense takes a ginormous leap and bounds ahead of where they were last season or even the year before, because that would put them in their own stratosphere. Like I just said, Kellen Moore had a top offense the entire time he was here, especially when Dak was healthy. But I do think McCarthy will make a difference in his game plan and how he's executing the offense. I think they're going to be more aware of pace, situational awareness, spacing, and I'm sure we'll see less turnaround at the sticks on third down. I think McCarthy makes a difference, but I don't think the offense takes a major leap forward in terms of points and yards production. If you want to be part of the post-draft mailbag, use the super thanks button down below and get your questions in. If you use the super thanks button, your question will get answered. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe. I love you all. Bye.